I think the honorable thing for our species to do is deny our programming. Stop reproducing. Walk hand in hand into extinction. One last midnight, brothers and sisters opting out of a raw deal.
Do not trust any friends or family members. I repeat, do not trust.
That's interesting. I don't know. It was a different time. I'm wildly ignorant about the matter.
I don't actually know what it even does. Then I should. But
yeah, it's true.
It's not good. Well, no, sorry. I know what it does. I know that people are fucked.
There you go. There we go.
Yeah. Well, they're just gonna default on things and have houses taken away. That's already starting.
Oh, jeez. It certainly is No Country for Old Men.
Nice one.
So, Extinction Agenda, everybody. Today, a fucking pleasure and a half, at least for me, to talk about like one of the all-time great movies of all time. Not to put too much of a point on it. Wow. No Country for Old Men, 2007, Coen Brothers, based off Cormac McCarthy novel of the same name, which I didn't get to read, and I'm always going to feel a deep regret about not having read it before we talked about it on the old podcast, but I just didn't have the time. Tommy Lee Jones, Javier Bardem, Josh Brolin, a wide assortment of other excellent character actors. And yeah, I don't know. Chris, when was the first time you saw this, or like?
Oh, I saw it in theaters. I was.
In theaters
for this one, yeah.
That's cool.
And did not let me down. It's what surprised me going back to it is that the novel was only 2005. I didn't realize that it had been so recently published before they did the adaptation.
Right.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it gets it's kind of a late period Cormac, because like Blood Meridian and stuff, that's from like 87 or something like that, isn't it?
85, something like that.
Yeah, and so it's No Country for Old Men is probably is closer to The Road than Passenger, like his most recent novel. I've having read the most recent novels, I was there. It's strange that this is set in 78 or 79/80. And Passenger and Stella Maris, the two most recent novels, are similarly set in 1980 and 1979. This is an important something for Cormac, and a place where he wants to talk about the modern condition, but also like have no telephones or have no like internet, or a lot of the trappings of super modernity are gone. Or not existent yet, so it can still be kind of old timey.
That's a big part of it for sure. Like that specifically, I think the desire to not have the complications of having cell phones and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and DNA testing. Like Anton Chigurh would have been fucked, but just he's got DNA all over the place. Like he and then what allows these characters to disappear and become. Theoretically to disappear anyway is like the transponder is it's a plot device, but it's also like it represents surveillance, like the sort of I'm not going to say state surveillance, but just like surveillance technology, and which is otherwise lacking anywhere else, and so it creates a unique situation. But James, you saw this before? Long
I've
before.
seen it a few times. I own it.
Yeah. What's your favorite part?
I don't know.
It's so many to choose from. Sorry, that's kind of a shitty
lovely.
question.
I
I'm
actually
sorry.
find it a little. I find it a little hokey when they start like when Woody Harrelson comes in actually, and they start saying like, oh, what compared to what, the bubonic plague? I get it.
Yeah.
I don't think it needed that sales pitch that he's the boogeyman. You kind of pick that up right away when he strangles off that guard. This guy's a fucking menace. Like, I didn't really need anything more than that. I've never seen a scene like that in a movie. I don't think ever. so fucking uncomfortable.
At the beginning,
so fucking long to strangle that cop, and everybody's and there's just so many there's so many fine details, like when he slips the handcuffs and just the ways he's fucking gripping him, the way the guy's fighting, the way the guy's fucking heart and lungs are quitting, the way that he's kicking on the floor, leaving streaks with his cowboy boots. It's just so fucking, it's so gritty. And that's almost like a Rob Zombie violence achieved, you know, where like you escalate it to the next level, where you're really like, you're making me feel like somebody died and making me really uncomfortable. That's great. And that they do that with all the corpses, the dead dogs, the dead bodies at the beginning, the original scene of the crime. It's just so visceral, like so gritty and gutty. Like you really feel like you're looking at just dead bodies, corpses, real murders. It's just really like a lot of effort went into that. A lot of practical effects. And the actors all had to be on point to film that in that style when people are dying like that.
Yeah, I saw the special feature on the making of that strangulation scene. The cop had to wear this elaborate prosthetic because all the blood splurts out, right? You know, and so like Javier is behind them and he's pulling on the chains, but there's this protective harness on the other actor, and you don't notice it until you know what I just told you. Now, when you go back and look at it, you're going to be like, oh, no, it's there.
Well, that's the only way that they could both struggle that hard, right? Or else you'd have to go a soft touch at it. It wouldn't look as nasty.
Oh, and that fucking bug-eyed stare on Chigurh's face when he's strangling it, like, and when the cop finally dies, there's that little exhale, and it's like he just rolled off somebody.
A little deep breath.
Yeah.
Just a nice touch. I don't know. The three main actors. I think the funny part too that I noticed this go around was that Josh Brolin's not really, you know, he's sort of put out as like almost like a false main protagonist. He's not, you know, and they really dispatch him as such.
Oh, you mean at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a larger philosophical reason behind that, though. Like behind the sort of ethos of the movie, like there's no sentimental, you know, like what's coming for you, you're not going to see it. And so the indignity of his death, just some Mexicans burst in and fucking shoot him down with an Ingram Mac 10 and then fly off. Like anything could happen. And nature's cruel. All of it's cruel. And I think that dispatching plays with audience expectation. It's not really a sign that they didn't care for the Brolin character, although some other people did make that complaint, apparently. I didn't find it a complaint. I thought it sort of like I felt. Well, some people complained about it.
Oh, I felt like this go around really that sort of Ed was the he was just the main. It was a cat and mouse for him and Anton, you know, and Josh was sort of just a target.
He's kind of a MacGuffin that is also a character. Yeah, I guess maybe you're right.
Yeah. He was so enjoyable, though. Josh Brolin's such a, I don't know. Josh Brolin shines. He charms the fuck out of me, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There's this level of, I think, often in Cormac McCarthy's work that feels allegorical, and it's like the events that are happening are a screen cast over like a deeper reality. And in this, it feels like Brolin's this guy who's accidentally stumbled into some high rollers lounge. He's not being told the rules, and the stakes are probably his soul, but he's just kind of feeling his way into this new arena.
Yeah, I'll buy that. I like that way of describing it because this movie has a Lynchian vibe to it. That is missing in other Coen brothers movies, I think. Again,
Well, look at the just the settings that it's such a barren place. Like you're in deserts, you're in these abandoned nightscapes, you're in just shitty parts of the city, seedy hotels. And then there's also that lack of music. There's very little score. And I think it all impresses this sort of lonesomeness or this barrenness that gives that maybe that Lynchian effect that you're talking about.
Yeah, and even direct things like when Anton is driving along the highway, we get a sort of Lynchian driving down the highway shot, and when he meets those guys, and not like the absurd, like it's Coen Brothers humor is very normal for a Coen Brothers movie. Sorry, that was a stupid sentence, but it's that sort of absurdist humor mixed with all this ultra violence and darkness and wood paneling. Yeah, it feels very Lynch. And I'm glad you mentioned the score thing. Like in the trivia, it was like there was only 16 minutes of score in this movie, and I was like, and that was one of the things I noticed. I watched this a bunch of times this week because I could, and yeah, the soundscape is just so rich that you don't notice the music isn't there, because there's always some sort of scratching or squeaking or or everything's so quiet because you're listening against the wall with Josh Brolin, with Llewellyn.
I was gonna say, with Llewellyn, you're dragging your ass over the fucking American border, just breathing, trying not to bleed to death. Just so much tension.
Yeah.
Well, you kind of alluded to this already, James, but there's like the violence in this movie. Like, I don't know, I can't think of another movie where guns are so terrifying. Like every gunshot, maybe it's because of the lack of music too, but there's just that crack and like just something explodes. It's just like your heart rate. I personally, like, I'm feeling like so tense every time. Like snipers, like silent shotguns, like it's just and then like the damage from like the dogs you mentioned, like when that dog leaps at him and like just he shoots it, but it takes him down because of like just the heaviness of the dog. Like if you actually have a Rottweiler jumping at you or whatever.
Yeah, the bullet's not going to actually stop its mid-flight motion. It'll.
Yeah. People bleeding, like all just like, when he's on that bridge, Llewellyn, like he just like looks at his wound and then he just pukes. Like, I don't want any part of this.
And when Chigurh, speaking of the silent shotgun, which again, trivia isn't an anachronism. They did not have those in 1979, but they did have them later. So anyway, when he shoots that, so he bursts into Llewellyn's room, and that Mexican guy's on the bed, and he gets up trying to grab his gun, and the shotgun goes off, and his arm's just dangling, and he falls over the side. Fuck, that's amazing. Like that level of RoboCop-esque violence mixed into something like that seems like so unusual for the. I know Fargo has that wood chipper scene, but yeah, the intensity and like you've already said it, but just like, and also the creativity of the violence in this, it's exceptional. Yeah. But it's somehow still not like it's not like a horror movie exactly. Like it doesn't have that same. It's still a Hitchcock movie, I guess, is what it like, the sort of Hitchcock chase. While it is also like
the genre is really difficult to pin down, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's funny. It's a Western. It's an action movie. It's a chase.
It feels like cat and mouse. I don't know. Well, then again, that all sort of like it slid that direction when Tommy Lee Jones entered the movie. Prior to that, it was almost just like a cartel kind of movie, right?
Yeah. And like that idea of the Western that James just mentioned too, that like the cartel is kind of like the old, like outlaw bank robber situation. You could think of Chigurh as the outlaw riding into town. Tommy Lee Jones is the sheriff trying to defend whatever civilization, normality, law. But it's all in this sad, worn out sort of way.
I got vibes of like not a super obvious comparison was The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Where you got the good, you got the bad, and then Josh Brolin is the ugly in between. And although they never have that, and this is pointed out by like everybody, is just like these guys never interact with each other except at most through gunplay,
phone conversations sometimes.
Anton and Llewellyn have their showdown though. That you wait for. Very tedious for poor Chigurh to have that, the fucking ex-military guy. It's a pain in the ass for him to kill him.
He was, yeah.
That's the thing too, actually, the ex-military thing. Like Nam kind of hangs over this movie. You got Woody Harrelson character, you got Brolin's character, and they're all people who have been displaced by violence. I think pretty critically too. Like they're just kind of like they see outside of the normality, the sort of like thin veil of civilization. I mean, even Chigurh's choice of weapon, like carrying around that like cattle mutilator or whatever. The scene where he calls that guy out of his car and he's like, "Will you stand still?" Before he puts it to the guy's head and like kills him. That's a skill testing question. That's like, are you fit to be part of this world?
Yeah, and there's a deeper comment tied within this. Like he gets out of a police car, fine, and he's not dressed like a police officer at all. He's creepy as fuck. He looks like a kid toucher, and he's got this like air tank thing, and Chigurh just like talks like a cop, like could you get out of the car, please? I need you to get out of the car. And the guy stands up, and it's just this, like it's the classic sheeple or like citizens as cattle, and he slaughters people like cattle.
Yeah.
Because precisely for the reason that you stated, or at least for one of the reasons, is that like, yeah, these guys are hunters in a traditional sense. Like they're constantly thinking about other individuals and other circumstances like meat, or also mimicking them, like psychologically, going through the motions of their life, like sitting on the couch and drinking their milk in order to figure out what the next course of action is. They're in many ways, like capable of stepping outside. Well, not just stepping out of civilization, but stepping outside of themselves and like reading the signs around them. Because you see tons of that. Like everybody's tracking, everybody's looking at the ground and getting the lay of the land, and following their prey.
Yeah, and then that's done too, and you guys alluded to this in the beginning, is that it's because of the time stamp on these events in the movie. There's no access to cell phones. There's a slow uptick on the investigation, slow uptick on the chase. It's just in a modernized world now. It's interesting to see that sort of like the different, and obviously it's a fiction, but I mean like the different ways that violence can like play out when you can't track it and process it and end it quickly.
Yeah, although there's no camera footage. Like you can imagine a movie like this as filmed by Michael Bay or something like that, where there'd be a lot of quick cuts, and we gotta get in there, and the investigation would be much more fast paced. They'd be showing like fingerprints and blah blah blah. I don't know. So you're right.
Yeah, that cop at the end, just like when he's talking to Tommy Lee Jones, just like talking about Chigurh and how do you defend against that is ultimately the question that he has, because he is just like, he's so quick to violence when he's talking to those like other cartel guys, and when they're investigating the crime scene, the drug deal gone wrong, he just like shoots them like just off the bat. Like there's no hesitation. He's a psychopath murderer, like without peer.
It was when Ed was talking to Ellis, the old guy, right?
Yes. Yeah.
No. You're talking. No. This is earlier. What you're talking about is when they're at the buy a cup of coffee, Ed, and and they talk, and they're like, never thought I'd see kids with green hair in my town. They're.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And he's talking about they're talking about Anton Chigurh at the end. Like, your fella, he's a psychopath. And like Chris says, how do you defend against it? And Tommy Lee Jones isn't, he's got some hard bark on him. And yeah, but I think about that. How do you defend against it? Someone who is not interested in rules.
Someone whose plan to get some supplies for medicine is to like blow up a gas tank to cause a distraction. Like it's insanity.
Yeah. And then he just walks away. You need a distraction. So yeah.
get that good stuff from behind the counter.
And everybody, there's a lot of tending to wounds in this. Everybody's very, like, you spend a lot of time, maybe not a lot of time, but like a lot of bullets get removed from flesh, wounds bandaged, dealt with. Everybody is brought to, and we've already said this, but brought to its flesh, and its softness and its fragility, and you can't have these like elaborate. Think of it as an 80s action movie. How many times are like people shot in action movies and they're just like, ugh, and they just keep going. Like a straight bullet in this is like, you're fucked. Again, you're going to bleed out.
Usually a gunfight looks like a good time in movies, like it's like something you'd want to partake in.
Outside of Rambo and the Predator.
Yeah.
Rambo was maybe one of the first 80s guys that actually tended to wounds.
That's true. I suppose maybe you're right.
Yeah, it's true.
His classic techniques. I noticed Barry Corbin too, the old guy at the end that he has the Tommy Lee Jones talks to. He's the basketball coach in One Tree Hill. It caught me off guard. Just Kate's watching that right now, and I was shocked by that.
He's got a real face for television.
A real range, man. A real range.
Yeah, that's against type.
Yeah. So I guess maybe we'll talk about Anton a little bit. We've already sort of brought up a lot about him, but I really like his sense of humor. He's constantly fucking with everybody around him, as like he just thinks everything that they're saying is fucking hilarious, because like, what are these fucking apes doing around me? And even when he's talking with Woody Harrelson, like Woody Harrelson's like, I can take you to an ATM, $14,000, and he's like, an ATM, and he just repeats words back to you in order to show you that they're empty, that they really don't mean anything in the face of him. And in the face of like death.
Yeah, he has a really hard time with the store clerk in that sense too.
Yeah, that's true.
He has that conversation when they flip the coin together, and it's just like, it's almost painful. It's almost like he's gonna crack up. I mean, he never does, but he's almost just toyed on by the conversation. Like, and then he keeps it going too, because it's almost like he's enjoying it. You gotta keep that. That's your lucky coin. Don't mix it with the others. The guy but doesn't realize how fucking lucky he was. He just sort of brushed death. I think he realized though.
Oh yeah. That scene is burned into my brain. Like, I've never forgotten that. It's so terrifying. Friendo. Like, if someone ever calls you that, they wanna kill you and desecrate your body. No question.
Friendo. Yeah, as soon as he eyes his license plate, right?
That's when he signed his warrant. Yeah.
That's when he's fucked. That was an odd scene.
I love how he choked. Like, he's like, how did you get the business? Oh, like my father-in-law. He just kind of chokes on the seeds. Like, you inherited it. Like,
you married into it.
You married into it.
Yeah, you married into this.
Total disgust, like for the idea. Like, and I think that's like,
or almost like
this movie,
how comically sad this guy's life and end could be,
And the fact that he has not made something for himself, that he hasn't pushed in his chips into the world like Tommy Lee Jones says in the opening.
Mm-hmm. Is that what he says in the opening about put your chips into this? Oh, interesting.
He says you gotta push your chips in and say, okay, I'll be part of this world.
Right. I misheard him. Okay. Yeah. Put your soul at risk. So just something about Anton, like, because he's always fucking around with this idea of fate, essentially. Like, the quarter brought you here, and this is your moment, and it's, everything in life is just chance, but it's at the same time providence. He's like this in-between character who somehow, represents both sides of the coin. I hate to have said that. But yeah, just like that fundamental, like, I've already said it, like, just the inevitability of death and the strange ways that it arrives upon you or arrives upon anyone, or accident or violence or harm. Like, Llewellyn he just stumbles upon this drug deal gone wrong, and gets swept up into it.
Makes a choice, and then the interesting thing too is that I don't know that it matters. Like I was toying with this idea, but he goes back and he brings water to that guy. He finds that guy dying inside the car. He asks for water and he's like, I don't got no water. And then he takes the money. He goes back home. Moment of weakness, perhaps. Like, given the theme of this movie, like the no place for old men, no place for weakness. Goes back and brings him some water, and then that leads these other guys to start tracking him. But he had the transponder in the
he would have been.
Time.
It saved his life to go out and try to give water to that guy.
Oh, explain.
Because otherwise they just would have killed him in his sleep. They would have tracked him to his home. Off. Yeah, that's right. But in this case, he ends up realizing that he's in danger, and ends up on the run sooner than he would have. So that one act of that one moral act, if foolish, is what saved him. Because had he anyway, that's how I took it.
I like that. Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
I feel like it kind of. I don't know. I feel like it helped humanize him too. He was kind of a dark. Like a dark take, like a dark character.
Yeah.
So it was, I don't know, it just helped me, get some empathy around behind them. I mean, I know his wife helped with that too, but.
Yeah, they have a charming relationship. It's
it's
That's very
funny.
Nice. Keep it up. I take you back and screw you. Big talk. Yeah, well, he didn't actually, he didn't have any water to give this guy. I don't think.
Yeah, he
did at the time.
Oh, at the time, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
mean, afterward when he went home and got some.
Did you guys look up what that guy said to him? The guy in the car. He said something in Spanish. And it's if you open the door, there are wolves. As before he takes the briefcase.
Right.
Which is cool.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah. There's another scene that does a similar thing. I guess I wondered what they're singing to him when he's in Mexico.
Right.
And they're singing to him. They're singing to him about Icarus. You flew too close to the sun. You tried too much for wealth. That kind of thing. And yeah, I don't know. I was like, because I knew it meant something. I knew the comedy of it there would be. And this gets to what you were saying about this like mythical sheen over top of reality. Like that shit's too on, like, it's mysterious but too on the nose, or not too on the nose. It's mysterious and on the nose at the same time, and so it asks you to think bigger about everything that's happening. And Anton Chigurh does much the same thing with his call it. Like suddenly
very
this
true.
cat. Say that again.
Oh, I said very true.
Yeah.
And Tommy Lee Jones is a myth maker too. I was thinking about, like, he's got his own sentimentality about the old days, like the goodness of the old sheriffs. They didn't even wear a gun sometimes, which I really appreciate is slapped down by the other guy, his old partner or mentor
Ellis,
or whatever at the end. Yeah, it's like, this has always been a hard country. Like, tell you a story about your family shot dead on the porch in 1909. Like, just. It's not a good place to be. Like, it's always been the same.
Yeah, and that accords with my, I don't know, historical sense. This movie, every time someone talks to me about how, like, civilization's declining and things are getting worse, I come back to that scene with Ellis. Fuck, what you've got ain't nothing new. Like that moment where you feel like you're overwhelmed by the evil and and shittiness of society and everything. Like, if anything, it's better now than it's ever been. and everybody's just so sensitive about green hair and, like, being able to get an abortion and shit like that, or some new drug on the street, I just this is a like intellectual touchstone for me. Ellis's philosophy is a touchstone for me. Think about it often.
Got me on the economy there.
Well, I don't know if I did. I don't know if I did. I don't know if that. Yeah, the economy's always up and down. Part of why this country is not for old men. Yeah. And when Tommy has his dream at the end, the two dreams, like the final speech that he gives about like basically his father setting up a reward for everybody in heaven, sort of a pagan, because he's upset that God didn't come into his life. And so his myth is, sort of a Valhalla that his father's preparing for him, just like all the other old timers doing the work.
Yeah, that or I thought too that like simultaneously it is about heaven for sure, but it's also kind of a vision of America or a civilization of lighting a fire and all that dark, and his father going ahead and
Right.
Yeah, I think he talks about like the people on horsebacks riding out to it.
Right. Beacon upon the hill.
Yeah. But that's Cormac McCarthy too. He's such a bleak motherfucker. Like he wants to say that, or I don't know if he even wants. I think he would like the idea that civilization means something, but ultimately all he can give you is this sort of like worn down, like eggshell thin dream.
Yeah.
This sort of hope that there's meaning to upholding something.
Yeah. I think that's probably the best way of approaching it. Like, because how else do you, other than through brute force, how do you stand upon something? And yeah, I don't know. Like you get up and you see everything as it is, and you deal with people, and we don't see the other bullshit that Sheriff Bell encounters, like just like the sheer nonsense that he must put up with, not just the crime, right, but the ridiculous nonsense of domestic abuse and whatnot.
Yeah.
And how do you do that unless like you have some sort of faith, or some deep cynicism, or desire to hurt people, or something like that. But to be as pure as he's depicted, like it has to be like a pure sort of faith in something.
Yeah. And then it's like the prize for seeing beyond that is, as Chigurh and Llewellyn do, it's really like it's a shitty prize. It's you just aren't deceived. Like you get to be more fully alive and have, I guess, like be a high roller, but it comes with a lot of baggage too.
Mm-hmm. It comes with I don't know, because thinking about the ironic or sardonic humor of Anton Chigurh, like, and compare that with Sheriff Bell's sense of humor, his deadpan. He speaks only like not in riddles, but and not in paradoxes, but he's deeply ironic with all of his comments. He's always also joking with people, and subverting their expectations and disarming them that way, or at least underplaying things. Appears to be a glitch or two.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's any any bonus for anybody that sees behind the veil or whatever. Just sort of darker outcomes.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I think you get to grow old and be a receptionist somewhere, or have a shoe store, or like the people that we come across, or you're driving down the street moving your chickens. If you're not an agent of violence or at play in this world of drugs and violence and crime, you're just like an old person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's what Sheriff Bell gets to be like. He sees it, but he's made it to old age, and it's just all there is existential crisis.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't think we have no reason to believe that all the various hotel receptionists are like, they're not having an existential crisis. They're they're these like comedic characters. Although one of them was able to really flummox Chigurh, where he's coming in and he speaks with her, like he asks her 3 times, like, where does he work? I can't tell you. And and he's just like, you can see in his eyes, like, I want to kill this woman. I'm so infuriated by this woman, but there's someone like around, and
he's like, he's positioning it as if he's going to kill her. Like, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
Tell me where the fuck he is. Like, this isn't. I understand you're not supposed to tell me, but we're on the other side of that. You know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you. And she couldn't give a fuck. Is what sort of portrayed in that instance.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
That was a funny scene too. I like that. But the what did you think of what's the take on Anton's like random fucking car accident? I guess that's sort of like, honestly, like, is similar to the way that Llewellyn meets his end. Is just like a random fucking event.
I think that's exactly the point. Particularly if you keep in mind Anton's philosophy as we've sort of come to understand it. Like, there's these chance encounters, these moments of yes or no, and sometimes accidents occur in that space, you know, and sometimes people get killed. And he's not immune to it. You know, it's kind of throughout this whole movie, he's a god essentially, capable of, even though he gets shot and he bleeds or whatever, but he's like a Terminator. And I guess he survives the car accident, but it's a near thing. He's not above accident or chance or providence himself.
Do you guys think that he's rattled by the confrontation? What's her name?
Oh, with the wife.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. I want to say her name is Leela. I didn't write it down.
Yeah, I can't remember now. She refuses to call the coin. Like, there ain't no coin. It was only you. And then he tells her that, you know, that the coin got here the same way I did. But then you don't see what happens in the book. Actually, this was one of the few, like, it's a very faithful adaptation, but that scene goes on longer in the book, and she eventually does make a choice. I believe chooses wrong. Actually, I'm not sure. I won't say that because I can't remember. But anyway, yeah. But in this, it felt to me like maybe there was a moment of vulnerability, or the start of some glimmer of doubt, because it feels like Anton would not have just been T-boned in an intersection before that. You know, like his mind was on something else.
That's fair. I'm willing to buy that because he's distracted by the children in his back mirror. With the little cards on their bicycles, like he's looking at that, and then
chance. So it's like cards in the spoke of the bike.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, because that's like an emblem of chance, obviously, fate. Yeah, a game. Then of course the other interesting thing about that scene, I love those kids. Look at that fucking bone. He's like broken. Yeah. But. This scene echoes the scene where Llewellyn is walking at night, and he those college kids show up, and he's like, I'll buy your coat for $500, and then the other kids, he's like, give me your beer too. He's like, well, how much you want for that? And like, there's that sort of like, at that age, you're cynical enough to like take from a man who's clearly fucked up. But these kids, you know, he's like, I'll give you my shirt, mister. Like, that's fine. I don't mind helping somebody. But Anton insists on paying him. And then as soon as he leaves, those kids start squabbling over who gets the money, right? So it's like it's this moment of corruption or you know, the devil kind of continuing its work in the world.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Yeah, I'll buy that. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, I'm looking at the scene right now. He's looking in the back mirror. He's looking at the kids. He looks forward. He sees a green light. We're looking forward. We're not looking anywhere else. And then, yeah. Yeah, I think you may be right. I like the fact that something about Llewellyn's wife, who sadly, I forget her name still, the
Carla Jean.
Carla Jean. Excellent. Thank you. Carla Jean. She, just something about the fact that she won't play the game and realizes, like, you know, you're just a psychopath. You just made up this thing in order to justify your ultra violent bullshit like this. And then even Chigurh's earlier statement, you know, like, if this is the rule that brought you here, what was the value of the rule. And I don't know, maybe something like that is going to happen for him here too. Like if his rule brought him to this, like just an embarrassing accident where he got to yeah.
He didn't even get Llewellyn, did he? Like it seemed to be these other cartel guys,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and all he was doing was just gonna kill Llewellyn's wife just because he said he would, right? And that's the rule that he lives by. I made a promise, and it brought him there. And yeah, I like you get the impression he's gonna get away because he's Anton Chigurh, and he gets away with shit. But I don't know, it's not a certain thing. I think he also gives those kids money because to guarantee their loyalty, to shut them up, because he tells them, like, you didn't see me, I was already gone, and he's kind of offering them payment for that.
Probably true, yeah.
I mean, that doesn't negate what your suggestion or your reading in that moment, but I think there's, sort of a practical motivation.
They did a good job making him look big too.
Oh, Anton,
making him look really scary and impending doom. Barnum's got a great jaw, but he's not a big guy.
Is that right? Eh? I would assume.
Yeah, no. 5'11", 185
Okay.
pounds, pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That famous. I think everyone knows this about the movie, but that haircut, like they
haircut, yes.
Yeah. There's a picture they found of some guy walking outside of a bordello or something like that, like in the 70s, and they're like, "This is the haircut," and he's like, he was so mad because he's like, "I'm not gonna get laid for 2 months after this." But the Coen brothers were just like, if we can make this guy look terrifying with this haircut, then we'll have done something.
Yeah. Well, success.
Yeah.
He looks like a kid that would get bullied at school, who grew up, got tough, got some hard bark on him, got revenge. Yeah. So even though there's all this big talk, like these larger ideas, like at the end, at the core of this movie, it's just like it's a procedural. I think, like James, you already called it a cat and mouse, and it is just just a lengthy chase movie where like nobody really catches each other, and everybody comes to their fate regardless. Like for a brief while, they're entangled in some sort of search, and then they scatter. I suppose, except for Llewellyn, who I suppose his body scatters.
Yeah, I feel like you guys touched on pretty much every part of the movie.
Yeah, and then otherwise you just end up like going on like, remember that scene when this happened and this happened? Yeah. I know you didn't like Woody Harrelson. I kind of like him in this movie. I remember the same feeling. There is that in that office. One of the things it does is to talk about how Anton is a killer, but it's also, again, getting back to the Lynchian thing. As he's leaving, and he's like, I counted all the floors. There's one missing. Assuming like it's the 13th floor or something like that. And the guy's like, he's that guy from News Radio. Jimmy, the the millionaire. And he's normally like this comedic actor, but he's got like this. He looks like a really shitty devil, and it feels like a bureaucracy in hell. And Anton's one of their demons, and Woody Harrelson's one of their demons.
That's the guy from Dodgeball.
From Dodgeball, yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yep. I know what you mean. It does give that sort of shitty. It's very deliberate because Woody has a thing that he does,
Yes.
He's got a sleazeball charm.
You bring him on because you're bringing Woody in, not for any other reason. It's not like it was. It's supposed to be like that, It's supposed to have that. It's supposed to have that sort of preachy. I don't know. It's different. It was his like brand of like weird overacting and comedy almost feels like it like breaks the fourth wall when he's there, like almost like he's narrating to you, or it's very bizarre. I don't know. And I normally like it, and I didn't care for it this time. I don't know why. But
I didn't like the first
I've
scene.
seen this movie a few times, but yeah.
Yeah, that scene that you called out, like when I agree it's too much. But when he's operating, when he shows up by the bedside with the flowers and he's just smooth talking and trying to get Llewellyn to just give up the money. I'll even let you keep some of it. Don't deal with Chigurh, he's gonna kill you. Like that was charming.
Yeah.
And I love the we haven't really talked a whole lot about like just the directorial eye, but like such a brilliantly shot movie, and that image after he kills Woody Harrelson and like his blood is like seeping down the floor towards Chigurh's feet, and he's like, I'm coming for you. Just like little touches like that. Amazing.
Yeah, you get a lot of when Tommy Lee Jones first comes into the so he showed up at that hotel room, and he has the suspicion that Chigurh is going to be in there because it ties back to like walks right into a crime scene, and so he's like, oh, I know, he probably walked into the crime scene again. And he goes in, and his shadow's being cast on the wall, and he's like a cowboy in that image, and like, but not just a cowboy in that shadow.
Oh, you mean when he's in the TV?
No. Although there's that too. No, it's cast on the wall. It's before he's just kicked open the door. He's standing there, the light's shining behind him, and there's a silhouette on the wall. But it's a double silhouette, and it looks like an Andy Warhol print of the cowboy, wide stance. And there's never a moment missed in this movie to be visually interesting and just to keep your attention when it's not people talking in a very charismatic and interesting Cormac McCarthy way. There's just always something to look at and always something to layer that's layered on top. I mean, I've seen not all their movies. I've seen the majority of the Coen brothers movies. And aside from The Big Lebowski, I'd say this is one of their, I think it's maybe Lebowski and this one are tied. High
praise for the Lebowski.
Yeah, man. No, that movie is fucking solid gold. I'd love to talk about that movie sometime too. Yeah. Not to downplay any of the other movies. I know that sort of ranking isn't fair, but there's a lot of elements of the other movies that I enjoyed a lot. But as far as like stem to stern greatness goes, like look no further.
I'd throw Fargo in like the upper echelon too, but yeah.
I've never seen Fargo.
Oh, okay. Well, we should hit Fargo because I haven't seen
the movie, right? Not
yeah. It's been
there's a show as well.
Easily a decade since I've seen Fargo, so
yeah, it's beautiful. I think you guys will like that.
Well, that's good. Really going out on a limb there. Oh no!
What I do.
Drop my phone. Well, yeah. So I don't know. This is great. I guess it's one of those situations where you just end up agreeing about a fine film. What? Yeah. Anything else?
I think that covers it.
Yeah. There we go. Did the whole thing.
We'll agree to agree.
Yeah. So final review. I didn't like it very much. I thought it was very, very weak effort all
very
around.
Very hokey. Yeah.
Yeah. It had a lot of hoke. Really, really shitty.
Guy's stupid haircut killed everybody.
Great waste of fucking time. Do we want to? If you guys are agreeable, we can announce our contest for exciting viewers.
Oh, okay.
Do it.
Chris is not excited. He's gonna have to read all those.
Yeah, we're gonna get inundated. Okay, so I was going through my comics, ladies and gentlemen, and I was taking out stuff I don't need or replacing things, and so I have, for anyone who's interested and has the balls, a full run of Alan Moore's Promethea. And the first 8 issues are in trade form, but then it's the single issues. And if anybody wants me to ship this bad boy to them, they have to prove that they have what it takes. And so they're going to have to send to, what's our email address? Extinction6. I don't know. I'll put it in the show notes at gmail.com. Probably that's not our email address because no one ever emails us. You have to send
I think one guy did once.
Yeah, we get an email every once in a while. That's not fair. But if you want these comics, you're going to have to email us. Check the show notes with the email address. You're going to have to send a 300-word essay, no less than 300 words, talking about the parts of our show that you find the most annoying. Extra points for the greatest insults or most creative insults. And I guess we better put a deadline on it so that way, like, someone 3 years from now doesn't want their.
And well, you know what? In terms of contests too, you have probably like a very high percentage chance of winning it just by writing anything and sending it, because you may be the only person.
That's true. Yeah. He who dares wins. That's the name of the contest, I think. So
push your chips in. Be part of this world.
Yeah. Also, it's Extinction Agenda 6 with an X.
There we go.
At gmail.com.
Okay, all right. And so let's give everybody till the end of March. I think that's fair. 300 words, that's tough. That's really tough. Actually, you know what? That's March.
To shit talk us?
Yeah, that's true.
I can tell
do that
you a
right
few
now.
Annoying things. Yeah.
Yep. Well, if you're interested, do the thing. I already said March 1st, so let's say March 1st, and we'll see if anybody's interested in pretty much getting a free product for making fun of us. That really couldn't hurt, except our feelings, which will be very hurt.
No.
Now all we need is a little energon and a lot of luck.